I need a bench that is cheap, portable, fits in this small space, and sturdy enough for hand tool woodworking. Let's see if I pulled it off. Well, friends, a few years ago, I made this low bench, and it was based off Rex Krueger's design, his $30 bench. I'm going to leave a link below that. If you're interested in workbenches, I think he's a great resource to go in there. But I actually blame Rex for all of this mess that I'm in right now, tools and things like that. His was the very first video where I saw a modern woodworker actually using hand tools. Before that, I thought hand tools were, you know, Colonial Williamsburg, Sturbridge Village, all that kind of stuff, where they did it for historical reasons, not for the love of the craft. And Rex actually opened up this whole new world for me about using hand tools in your everyday woodworking. So, you know, blame him for all this mess that's going on here. All right, so this low bench, I have a video on the low bench itself, so we're not going to go into a whole lot of details there. That'll be linked at the end. But when I made it, it was not very stable. I took his design and, of course, made my own tweaks to it, which means my bench was not as good as his. The base was very unstable. It was kind of wobbly, especially back and forth. So I took those legs off and made this A-frame. And when I did that, the bench really became a lot more stable. But at that time, I said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we could make this bench portable? So the top itself will detach very easily from the base. So as I'm thinking about this, and as I'm getting into some of these hand tool videos and learning more about hand tools, I realized that while the low bench is great for some operations, it's really not appropriate for all of them. So I decided to upgrade my bench now to have a standing bench. And I've got 4 criteria that I have to meet. One, and this is a non-negotiable, I got a very small space. It's 7 feet, 11 inches wall to wall. So I don't have very much space to work with. This is a 4-foot bench, and that's actually the perfect length. Since I don't do large pieces of furniture, I think that's going to work out just fine. So criteria number 1, it's got to fit within the space. Criteria number 2 is I wanted it to be portable so that I could take the bench down, maybe go to take it to craft fairs, things like that. Criteria number 3 is it needed to be sturdy enough to do my hand tool work. And criteria number 4, because I am the ultimate cheapskate, I wanted it to be for materials that I already had on hand. Okay? Now, this original bench, I did buy the lumber for that, and I bought the vise, but that's, you know, that was 3 years ago. So that's a sunk cost. So we're going to go with this bench type. Top, everything else came out of a construction dumpster, with the exception of some dowels. I did have to buy those. We'll get into that in a minute. So let's take this thing apart and then put together the main bench and see how we did. For the design, I got my inspiration from Rex's portable bench, linked down below, and also the single bench from the Teacher's Handbook of Sloyd. Link also down below. Those legs out of the way. All right, we start the design with a couple of trestles here. The 2x4s were out of a construction dumpster. Same for the 2x6s. So I just laminate up a couple of 2x4s for the top and bottom rails. The risers are 2x6. Cut a mortise, basically a half flat mortise in the top rails. Join these together, put a tenon on the bottom, and did that for both the the top rail and the bottom rail. So we got these 4 risers here. The stretchers were again out of a construction dumpster. All right. Slide that in there. And then we just push everything together. Wedges, just scrap pieces of oak. Nice and solid, no wobble there. So we see we've got these dowel pins here. I did have to buy those. I thought I had dowel rod, but I did not have the correct size. So now we'll just take our bench. Okay, line those dowels up. There we go, that slides on there. Push that down, nice and solid there. All right. The last piece is and we have a tool well also secured in place with dowels. I didn't time it. Oh, didn't time it, but how long did that take to put this thing together? The front vise is, like I said, it was one I bought several years ago, able to reuse that. I do have another vise that I may put on the back as a tail vise. Gonna leave that off for right now. But the tool well. In Rex's bench, he actually encloses the tool well. I've decided to leave it open, and the main reason is that once this fills up with shavings and things like that, easy to brush off. No wobble, no back and forth wobble, no side to side wobble. Now, this does not have the mass that like a joiner's bench, an English joiner's bench would have, or a Rubio style bench, anything like that. But for the work I do, I think this is going to work out just fine. Well, friends, let me know what you think about this. I know it's not the prettiest bench, but I'm more concerned about functionality. Oh, in this top, I do have the dog holes, which would allow me to put dogs. I may add an additional row of dog holes in there. So hold fast, dogs, things like that will work out just fine. So let me know what you think, friends. Till next time, take care. God bless.